Welcome to the Matt O'Grady Coaching Podcast. This is where Matt shares all his ideas on how to be happier, more successful, and enjoy life to the fullest. Please go to mattogradycoaching.com and theliving.gratitudebook.com to learn more and receive your free micro-coaching session with Matt. Enjoy part 4 of this episode.
Okay, we got it in the chat. Rob was an artist and Jane was a writer. They didn't have, weren't they studying like psychology as well?
Well, the whole thing that led to Seth was Jane had written a science fiction book that had kind of gotten it was published and did moderately well, and she was looking for another project, and so Rob said, why don't you write a book about ESP? And she said, well, I don't know about ESP. And he says, well, you can research it. You know how to research. They weren't scientists or psychologists, but they had a very scientific method approach to the way that they gathered data. But something just popped for me when you were saying that, and that is what they did. What is very similar is that they were trying to prove that what was happening was real. Ezra and Jerry just were like, we know this is real, so we don't have to prove it. But Jerry's thing, which is what he said this in the introduction to The Astonishing Power of Emotions, that his deal was that he'd been teaching people how to use the Napoleon Hill principles, and people were not getting it. They were like, some people would be successful, but they weren't getting it. And he wanted to find something that everybody could get. And that's where a lot of his persistence comes from in the Abraham materials, is because he really did want other people to get this material and to be really successful as a result. That was really important to him.
And I also wonder if that having had that model of Jane and Rob before them kind of made it easier for them, in the sense that maybe Jane and Rob were kind of the trailblazers in that way, and that gave them a little bit of a model to follow.
I think so, and I think too that anybody who reads the Seth material and sees all the timestamps and the side notes and all that stuff, and realizes that you're not actually reading a Seth book, you're reading a transcript. I know for myself, after a while, I'd be like, I just want to read exactly what Seth said. I don't read words in the Bible. I just want to read exactly what Seth said. I don't want all this other stuff. And my guess is that Jerry, with his, penchant for the practical, probably was like, yeah, we don't need this. We just need, here's the answer, what's the question? Or here's the question, what's the answer? And here are my 15,000 questions, which will, of course, give birth to 15,000 more. And I want the answers right now, and I want them practical, and I want them easy to understand, and I don't want them to be in highfalutin language.
Yeah, and that is a big difference, isn't it? Laura, you got something you want to add?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Oh, I thought that wasn't you laughing, or was that I mistook your laugh?
No, I was laughing, but no, I have nothing to add.
Okay. One of the other things I loved, one of the other stories that Abraham tells frequently is the story where they said that Jerry said, oh, I know what death is, because this is the story where he was in the truck going around the mountain, and he was, I guess he was teaching English to some children, and he understood Spanish and English, and so he was teaching these children English, and they were going around the mountain, and the dad was driving the truck, and it was kind of a canvas covered like pickup kind of thing, and the truck had no brakes, and Jerry at first was apprehensive. How could he even get in that truck? I don't even know. But apparently the driver told Jerry, well, I know how to downshift, and when we I need to slow down the truck. I'll be able to downshift, and I can, get us where we need to go without the brakes. And Jerry said, okay, well, if he's got his own kids in here, then I guess he knows what he's doing. And he got in the back, and he's teaching the kids, and they're going on a windy road, mountain road, and he hears that the driver is trying to downshift the truck, and he can't do it. He can't get it into the lower gear, and he knows that they're in trouble. And rather than drive off the side of the mountain, the driver drives into the mountain, and it flips the truck over, and Jerry and everybody is turned upside down, and Jerry hits the pavement, and his first thought is, oh, that's not so bad, and then the truck hit Jerry and everybody else, and Jerry was rendered unconscious, and then when he came to. He said that he had thought that he now knew what death was like, because he said it was like, well, you're going, and then all of a sudden, there's nothing. And he said, that must be what death is like. And Abraham said, that is nothing what death is like. Death is super consciousness. It's full awareness. It's not nothingness. It's the exact opposite of that. And I couldn't help but think about that when I heard about Jerry's passing today, that now he got to experience firsthand exactly how opposite that experience really is, and that it's not a coming into nothingness, but it's a coming into oneness with everything, and that truly is super consciousness. And that was something that, when I thought about the more inspirational part about this, that really kind of lit me up. So I just wanted to share that. I don't know if anybody else had anything to share about that.
I forgot about that story, but I love that one, especially in realizing Jerry understands now what Abraham was saying in that moment. Not that he didn't understand before, but that is a great story.
Yeah, I half expect him to be like, saying to Abraham, hey, I got it. You guys weren't kidding. He really had a great sense of humor, and he just you always got the sense that Jerry was probably one of the happier people that you ever would want to come across.
I agree, Phil. You know what else I loved about him was how all the stories that we heard from Abraham about his interactions with Esther, and how he was really laid back, and how well he handled Esther when she wasn't always so. I'm going to miss hearing those stories, because that was some of my favorite things to hear from Abraham about what this looked like for Esther and Jerry in their real life. And I guess Esther will still be able to share stories, but I sure loved his interactions with Esther.
Oh yeah, they led to some great stories for sure. With the one with Jerry getting oil all over his shirt, and
I love. I don't know if I've heard that one. I want you to tell it, but I got to say the one I liked. Oh, remember when he went skipping out of the monster bus when Esther had to stay and edit, and so he went for a walk on that gorgeous day, and she was kind of resentful that he was skipping on his way while she had to work. But what's the oil stain story? I don't think I know that one.
It was just I don't remember all the details now, but I think that they were trying to get somewhere, and one of the previous monster buses was having a problem, and Jerry kind of decided to get under the hood himself, and it was like one of these Lucy and Ricky Ricardo moments, and Esther started up and he got like oil all over himself or something like that. I can't remember. I can't remember all the details of the story. But a lot of times, those stories really helped me relate to what Abraham was talking about, because here you have the people that are directly responsible for bringing the message forth and being the conduit for that message, and here they are, they're suffering the same kinds of foibles and slings and arrows that the rest of us are. Certainly not all the time, and they certainly had incredible highs too. But it really, to me, it made it seem like, well, these aren't superhuman people. They're just they're just people that are living their lives just like I am, and they have kind of wacky, crazy stuff happen to them too, and a lot of it's funny, and sometimes they're able to apply what Abraham's telling them in the moment. Sometimes they can't, and then of course they go through their life, and then they see what was going on, and they grow from it. But it really helped me to kind of take the teachings and really root them into my own life.
I totally agree, Phil, and I think we saw that again today from Esther in the note that she sent out when she said something like, yeah, I know, transitioning, there's no such thing as death, all that, but she said something to the effect of that it was still kind of hard for her to embrace at this time, and I completely agree that it's really helpful to see the humanity here, that, people who are close, the two who are closest to Abraham of anyone, still going through the same stuff that all of us do with this deliberate creation stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that I think that came through loud and clear, and I think it was one of the main reasons Abraham shared those stories. It was to kind of make it more accessible, to us, because it sometimes it would sound like, well, sure, Abraham's just saying get happy. Well, sometimes it's not easy to get happy. Sometimes there's stuff right in front of us that seemingly really needs our attention right now. And when we do that, sometimes it's really challenging to be able to get happy in that moment. But eventually we get there.
We do.
So another thing I wanted to talk about, because after all, this show started as a gratitude and appreciation show. That was the theme that Matt and I had set up for tonight before everything that happened, including the birth of Matt's beautiful son, Patrick Michael O'Grady, and something that we're very grateful and appreciative for. And I imagine Matt's off sleeping somewhere if he can. We had decided we'd be talking about appreciation. Then, of course, Patrick Michael comes along, and then the news for Jerry comes along, and we end up doing what we're doing now. But that still doesn't really take away from the theme of appreciation, and we are on the eve of Thanksgiving. And it seems to me that Jerry Hicks was a really good appreciator, that he was really good at just being able to milk out of just everyday experiences so many things to feel thankful and appreciative for. I know that he came from a difficult childhood. He shared that I think it was in The Secret Behind the Secret, which I don't know if that DVD exists anymore. I think maybe they've changed it or they've repackaged it.
You can get it on Netflix.
Actually, I have it.
Yeah, you can
great.
Netflix it, yeah.
And he talks about, how poor he was growing up. And I think he was also quite ill often as a child, too, and which is one of the things that led him into leading a very physical life. He was an acrobat. He became very strong. And he was very robust in how he lived his life, partially, it said, in response to not being well as a child. So maybe, those humble beginnings that he came from, where some of the real basics of well-being, his personal health, and just being able to have, the basics in terms of food and shelter and so forth, that he came from a place where he didn't have a whole lot, and he seemed to really be able to appreciate what he was able to create for himself in his life. And I think that that's a great model for all of us as we're here on the eve of Thanksgiving, to remember how well Jerry did that, and how purposefully he did that. He would go out and look for things to appreciate, and look for things in the moment to milk and to feel better about. And what a powerful technique that is. It's such a simple yet powerful thing to do, to feel good on purpose. And so I feel really appreciative that Jerry gave us that model.
I agree. I think he was exceptional at it, at least from the stories we hear, the glimpses we have into their lives. It sure seems like that to me. And I'm thinking, too, how easy it is to appreciate. If I were Jerry and looked at the legacy that I created with this life, I got to imagine he's incredibly proud of himself. That it seems like a life so well lived. Not that you have to impact millions of people to call it a life well lived, but boy, he certainly did a lot of good things for many, many people.
Yeah, he certainly did.
With his questions and being willing to bring Seth into the bedroom.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Esther about that sometime. Well, we're kind of coming up to the end of the show here. It's gone by in a finger snap incredibly quickly. So I just wanted to go around and ask all of you if you had any final thoughts you'd like to share. Laura?
Well, I just want to say how much I appreciate all of you who have been on this line, on this call. You're all extremely important to me, so I want to just express my gratitude for having you all in my life, and just to have been invited to join you guys tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part of it, and the feeling is very mutual. Jeanette?
I agree. It has been really nice to be able to share the Jerry love with others who are feeling it. So thank you, Phil and Frank and Barbara and Laura and everyone else. And one thing I'm going to be doing and would invite others to join me in, I said that I was sad for Esther. I don't want to be sad for Esther. I'd like to send her much better energy than that. And it might take me a day or two to get there, but I will.
Oh, I know you will, Jeanette. And when you send that energy, Esther's not going to know what hit her.
I was thinking that the next time she's in front of an audience, she is going to be overwhelmed with the love that is coming towards her.
Frank?
Well, I thank you so much, Phil, for inviting me to be here. And like Laura said, it's so much fun to be here, and I'm really appreciating being able to share all of these reminiscences and the appreciation and the just amazing awareness of what Jerry has meant to so many people. I just love being able to sit and talk about it and really revel in it. It's just been amazing. And thank you so much for pulling this together at the last minute. It's really been amazing. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, I loved every second of it. It's been delicious, and I'm filled with appreciation and gratitude for all of you for coming together at the last minute like this. It's been a terrific experience and sharing, and really, when I think back to everything that Jerry and Esther have done, without them, I don't know if I'd be doing this show right now. Perhaps I would. Perhaps it would have taken a different iteration. I don't know. But I can say very clearly that the inspiration that I got from Jerry and Esther Hicks and Abraham, of course, directly led to my decision to become a teacher, and then eventually to work with Matt and to do this show and to be in communication with such beautiful and wonderful people such as yourself. So I'm filled with gratitude and appreciation for all of you, and I hope everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving. And catch Jeanette over at Good Vibe University, and Laura over at Present Tense Radio, and Frank with Communion of Light. And we'll see you all soon. So thank you all, and have a very good night.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Boar's Head invites you to enlighten your senses. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Inspired by Japanese master chefs, our signature teriyaki glaze is crafted with garlic, ginger, and a hint of brown sugar, then paired with our tender, slow-roasted chicken breast for a flavor that's sweet, savory, remarkably bold. Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken, the bold flavor of Japan, now at the deli. Compromise elsewhere.
Thank you again for joining us on the Matt O'Grady Coaching Podcast. Until next time, please go to mattogradycoaching.com and thelivingGratitudebook.com to learn more and receive your free micro-coaching session with Matt.